up, guys? Happy Friday. Welcome to the Deal Desk, where I call your leads live. If you want to submit your leads, it's not too late. You can head over to the reitoolbox.com, click leads to be called live on the Deal Desk, and I will call them live right here. And if you're new to this, welcome. I call your leads live. You know, it's very interesting. Every time I make these calls, I either get yelled at, overcome objections, or close a deal, or I'll try my best to alley-oop the deal to you. That way, when the show's over, you can call them and get the signed contract. All right, so let's get right into it. The very first lead we have, this one is in Tallahassee, Florida. It says it's a tornado damage home. All right, so let's take a look at this. Pull it up here. All right, so this is the property. Yeah, I mean, it needs everything. Okay, so this one, it looks like it is listed on the market, whoever submitted this lead. So this is listed. Now, remember, when you're going after these properties that are listed either on the MLS or for sale by owner site like Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com, you can't remarket at the same price that it's listed at. Otherwise, what's the point? What value does that bring to the buyer? You have to get this at a discount. In my experience, if you get it, $30,000, $40,000 less than what it's listed at, there's enough value for you to relist. We've done deals like that as well. But this one, tornado damage, as is. The home was gutted to the studs and the owner's ready to be done. Priced is for a contractor or homeowner to rebuild as is. They put as is 4 times. So I think it's an as is sale. All right. Perfect. So let's give them a call. And, when you're speaking with the agent, you want to make sure that you give them an offer. You might have to send either a written offer via email or verbal. This one actually has a lot of interest on it. All right. So it's only been on here for 2 days, 28 saves. All right. So let's give him a call. Mr. Cotton. I'm going to go ahead and give him a call and let's see where it's at. We want to see if they're still accepting offers, which they probably are, but let's go ahead and give him a call. And then I'm going to start running comps on this on the other side over here. I think it's priced very well. And I'm looking at some of the comps, $295 for a property that's not even fully renovated. So, as is almost gutted.
Hello, this is Russell Cotton with Cotton & Company Real Estate. Please leave your name and number.
One more time. I always double dial because, if it's not the same area code, they don't recognize it. They may not pick up the phone, but you always do, especially if you have a phone number, you're doing business in the market where they don't have the same area code as your phone. The comps are strong. I think it's priced well. I think you would actually offer them exactly what they want. This is low-hanging fruit. The thing is, you have to get it a little bit lower. All right. We're going to move on to the next lead, but who submitted this lead? Let me just see it real quick. Jade, you submitted this lead. I think you could give them exactly what they want. Get a hold of the agent, see if they're still collecting offers. I think I'd be around 120. See what they say about that. They may have an already higher offer, but start low and then counter a little bit more if needed. All right, let's go to the next one. The next one is in Atlanta, Georgia. This looks like it's an off-market lead. Denelli Avenue. All right, looks like a nice house. Perfect. All right, so what's the story with this one? Fair condition, retiring, owns with husband, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,200 square feet property details. General condition, fully renovated. Renovation is currently being finalized. Occupancy status, vacant. Okay, new unit. Okay. So if this is fully renovated, we don't know if this is gonna be, I mean, remember, if a property is fully renovated, what value can an investor add to this? Unless they're super motivated, even the property is fully renovated, what if they just want to get rid of it? I don't know their time frame. Now they are asking $640,000, okay, which is, you know, full market value. So remember, when you guys are talking to these leads, I just gotten off an interview with Investor Base, and I'll post that once that's live. But one of the things that we talked about was actually, how do we know if somebody is a real lead, right? A real lead is somebody that wants to sell and needs to sell, right? Anybody would be willing to sell if they got the right price. But if you're not talking to somebody that, you know, is motivated, you know, you may not want to spend too much time with them. Man, they're actually asking way above market value. Like they're asking $100,000 more. But we don't know the, you know, the time frame. So I'm going to give them a call anyway. I'm just saying, when you guys are going for leads, whether it's off market or on market, make sure you're actually talking to people that actually want to sell and need to sell. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting your time. All right, so let's give this one a call. Let me pull up their number. So he's retiring. All right, but the property, I mean, looks like they just finished renovating the property. So this might be somebody that might plan on listing with an agent. We don't know. Let me go ahead and pull up the phone number here. Remember, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. If you are in the community, you are in the private chat. So I see you call first, and you have a direct line of communication with me on here. Yeah, what's up, Lead House? All right, let's see if this person picks up the phone. Let's see, you know, how motivated is this person, right? Because stuff on that price, there's nothing selling for. The highest sold property was $550.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging
that is actually
system.
the highest sold property.
4.
Okay. And, you know, for those of you that are doing outbound marketing, right? Let's say you have some cold callers. Let me see if this, hold on, give me 1 second. If you have cold callers, you have to make sure you train your cold callers, if you manage them, to be experts at finding opportunity. Real leads, people that want to sell and need. Your cold caller speaking with somebody, and they say, well, you know, I'm not really going to look to sell, but I'd be open to offers, right? That's not really somebody that I would consider a lead. Somebody says, well, I wasn't, you know, thinking about selling, but I would for the right price.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging.
So, in my opinion, they're not there to negotiate on the acquisition's behalf. You want to make sure that they pre-qualify these leads. That way, when they get to your CRM or wherever, however you're getting them, that they are people that actually want to sell and need to sell. So even though this seller is retiring, it doesn't sound like you know, he's in a rush or motivated, just based off the notes. He didn't pick up the phone, but just for future reference, I mean, he's asking $100,000 more than anything that's sold in the area. The highest sold property is 540, 550. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's go to the next one. The next one, oh man, this one is looks like this. Okay, so this one is also, looks like it's listed, but it's got interest, and it looks like it needs work, especially when it doesn't have photos of the inside. It just has photos on the outside. All right, so let me take this one off in Atlanta. Let's take a look at this one. This is in Holly Hill, Florida. All right, Holly Hill, Florida. All right, so this one is listed on Zillow and on the MLS. Investors take note. Home needs total rehab, cannot be shown. Squatters will be removed before closing. Great piece of land on a nice street. Drive by only. Great opportunity. Make all offers. So it's got squatters. It's in bad shape. All right, drive by only. So this person has a problem. Now, since it's listed with an agent, we speak with the agent. Let's give him a call. Let me see if you have any additional notes in here just to make sure. No, abandoned house with squatters and overgrown grass. Spoke with the agent. He confirmed that the seller turned down $39,000, $40,000. Can we offer higher than that? Left off with checking my numbers with my partner to see if we can offer more than $40,000. Okay. Now, I usually don't run comps before I call when I'm speaking with homeowners. If I'm speaking with an agent, right, it's not like I can get them to accept an offer and get a signed contract on the spot. So I'm okay running a little bit of numbers before I call this one. We do know that we can't be below 39 to 40 because they've already turned that down. So that tells me that. So I'm going to run some quick comps on this. All right, just to see what I come up with. Jade, this is your lead. So they turned down 39. They turned down 40. This is listed for 74,777. All right. Now, remember, when you guys are running comps, it's important to take note and see what are other investors buying similar properties for, because a lot of you may use a 70% rule. That's a great rule of thumb. But what I care about is what are investors buying similar properties for, and I simply just want to be underneath that. Yeah, this is a very small neighborhood. Let me take a look and see. Let me go a little bit farther out here. All right, so you have a couple comps in this area. The square footage, you always want to make sure you confirm this. Oh, this is only 596 square feet. That's going to be, I don't think there's anything else in this area that size. Okay, so you want to be very conservative. And, if somebody's asking an unrealistic price, you want to educate them in a polite way, right? Say, hey, like the way we come up with our offers is I collect information about you, your situation, and then the property, bedroom, bathroom, square footage, year built, condition, all that information. And then I want to take a look in the area and see what sold in the last 3 to 6 months. I don't want to go farther out than 12 months because the market can change. All right. But you want to tell people, this is how I compare apples to apples. Now, there's really nothing this size that I see that's sold for that. So I'm curious to see why it's priced at that number. So when these properties are listed with an agent, something I like to do is lean on the agent. Hey, what do you see that I don't? Because I don't see anything selling for 74 or, that size. There is stuff selling, over 100,000, but it's well over 1,000 square feet. So let's give them a call. Let's see if we can get a little bit more information. I don't think we can offer 74. And again, since this is listed on the market, you have to get it less than what it's listed for. Maybe, let me see. Well, we can't go below the numbers they told you, right? So they already turned down 39 and 40. Would they do 50? Is 50 even worth it? I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's call the agent. What's the agent's name here? Agent Carlos. All right, let's give Agent Carlos a call and find out where we have to be at. And remember, if somebody's asking too high and they're not in a rush, you need to follow up. I can't tell you how many times that we've closed deals because of follow-up.
Carlos, can I help you?
Hey, Carlos, my name is Steven. I saw your listing on Walker Street. Are you guys still accepting offers for that?
Yes, we are.
Okay, perfect. I had a few questions about it. Did I catch it a good time?
Yeah, but I'm on the other line. Well, I'm on hold on the other line forever now. If they pick up, I'm going to have to call you back. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's completely fine. I won't take up too much of your time, but I know the house needs a total rehab.
Let me call you right back.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye. Hello. Sorry.
He was on hold. He didn't have time to speak. Now, something you have to take note of is when you're talking to agents or homeowners on the phone, if the property is listed for sale by owner on Zillow or it's on the MLS, I don't want to make this guy repeat stuff that is already on there. I know that says the house needs a full rehab, right? Investors take note, home needs a total rehab, cannot be shown, blah, blah, blah. Okay. How old is the roof? I mean, it looks old according to these photos. It's kind of hard to see a little bit, but I just want to ask him questions that I don't see on the listing to keep the conversation going. Another thing is squatters will be removed before closing. Is the homeowner dealing with that situation, or is the agent assisting them through a third party? I don't know. But what if we buy the properties with the squatters in it and we handle that? Is that going to be a benefit to the homeowner? You see, people don't always accept the highest price. Some people prefer better terms. So there wasn't really enough time to speak with this gentleman. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. So let's go to the next one. And keep dropping the questions. I'll get to the questions here in a second. But let's go to the next one we have. This could be a good deal. By the way, I don't know how low they want to go, but make sure you follow up with Holly Hill. All right. The next property we have. Oh, this is a duplicate. All right. So this one is a duplex in Miami, Florida. Wow. This thing has got, I mean, it looks like this thing has overgrown vines on it. This is great. This is what we like to see. Okay. So take a look at this property. All right. So, I mean, yeah, it needs everything. This is perfect. This is the kind of stuff you can add value to. These are the kind of people that are motivated. The house needs a lot of work. I mean, the kitchen looks okay, but you got a hole in the ceiling. You got, a lot of stuff going on here. Okay. So what's the story with this one? Information. Couldn't find any land comps, info, cash or private. Oh, I already saw that. So the listing, cash or private financing only due to property conditions. Investor special near West Miami / Coral Gables. This home is located into a small section of unincorporated Miami-Dade. Zone duplex with a lot capable of redevelopment. Current home has major roof issues. Electrical is replaced within the last 15 years. Plumbing unknown. Currently a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, single family legal with a garage that cannot be accessed due to roof caving in over the garage door opening area. No current violations or liens affecting the home. It will be delivered with a clear title. Main house needs full rehab and roof replacement. Huge upside with solid bones, a prime location. Okay, so right now, it's a single-family home that just needs a lot of work. They are asking $599,000. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up the comps here. And how much interest does this thing have? It's been on here for 8 days. It has 786 views with 48 saves. That's not too bad. All right. So $599. Let's see if there's anything going on this area. It said it could be used as a duplex. There's actually a lot of activity here. But I want to go based off of what it is right now. So this is a single family home that needs a lot of work. I'm going to see what investors buying for in the area in the last 12 months. Okay. And you also have to be careful. These markets that you see the comps are really close. Just because they're close doesn't mean they're always going to be comps. Sometimes you're going to have a completely different neighborhood. In Florida, it's very common, right? You can have a gated community right next to a mobile home park. So just because they're that close, you have to also look at location, furniture, bedroom, bathroom, square footage, year built. All these things are super important because I see a comp right on the other side of the street, but this is a gated golf course community, and ours is not in a gated golf course community. So I don't like crossing any major roads, highways, or bodies of water. I do see a similar comp. How many square feet is this? Oh, this is 980 square feet. Okay. Well, there's one that's 1836 square feet, and this sold exactly 12 months ago, and they bought it for $525. Okay, I'm assuming it needed a lot of work, but our person's asking $599. Let's just round it up to $600,000. So I'm already thinking in my head, I probably have to be at least, even if the deal makes sense, even if we can offer them exactly what they want. Again, since this is listed on the market, we have to remarket it less than what it's listed for. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So I'm already thinking, closer to $550. But let's call the agent and let's see if they pick up the phone. I mean, I'm just going to assume this thing it needs everything, right? It needs everything. Look at that. That's great. You guys are getting better at finding opportunities for sure. All right, let's give him a call. Let's see if the agent picks up. Sometimes agents pick up, sometimes they don't, but
Hi, you have reached the voicemail of Christina.
I'll back one more time, and then we'll move on to the next one we have. All right, let me keep running comps here. I mean, so far, I see the thing is this property is much bigger square footage, so it's not really a comp, but I do take into consideration the square footage because it's sold lower with higher square footage. Hello? Hello? Okay, she didn't pick up. So I think for this one, let me just take another look at this. Yeah, I mean, the best comp is 900. I mean, you have 919 square feet. And they bought this property. Let me see. They bought that for 385 and it was in better shape. It was actually a buy and hold, and they bought it for 385. So these are things that, you know, homeowners may tell the agent, I want to list it for this, but it doesn't mean they're going to get that price. So I would follow up with this lead. I don't see it selling anywhere close to 600,000 in my opinion, based on the comps. So let's go to the next one. All right, so that one was in Miami. Let's go over to San Antonio, Texas. Awesome. All right, so this one's in San Antonio. Now, remember, in these non-disclosure states, you have to have data that can, you know, pull MLS data. Otherwise, you're going to have to go by active or pending. Okay. All right, so this one, it looks like it's for sale by owner. It's not listed with an agent. I always prefer off market because you just have more control. There's less competition, you know. All right, so this property actually looks decent. Okay. It looks good. Looks like a rental property. All right, updated 3-bedroom, 1-bath, cottage style home, hardwood floors, high ceilings, buyer agents welcome, owner finance available with 10% down payment. That's good. Now, I don't know if this is a wholesaler or the owner, right? Sometimes you'll notice the lingo in the description is something that you would use when you're marketing the property, but you don't want to assume that stuff. When you speak with this person, if they answer the phone, get their name, all right, and simply ask them if they're the owner, and then just, you know, cross-reference that with the tax records, because sometimes you will speak with property that has the property on Zillow for sale by owner, and they say they're owner, and it doesn't match. So I always tell them, hey, you said you're the owner, but on the tax records it says John Smith. You know, what is your relationship with them? All right. Some people are scared to say they're wholesaling. I don't know why, but let's give this person a call. I don't want to assume they're a wholesaler. I don't know yet. I'm just going to assume they're the owner. So let's give the owner a call. I do like that they're open to the 10% down. That's really good. I wonder if they're open what the rest of the terms looks like, but that's always, you know, that always shows flexibility. All right, let's put the number here. All right. I mean, the house looks like rent ready.
This is John.
Hello.
Leave me the message and I'll call you.
No, sound like they answer. Let me call them right back, and then I'm gonna get to a few questions, and I'm gonna keep it going. All right, keep the questions coming. Do you have any other information on this? Kitchen needs updating. Landscape, yeah. 160. Unable to speak with homeowner. Okay. Comps, MLS comps here.
This is John. Please leave a message and
All right, they didn't answer. I'm looking at the comps. All right, I see one across the street that sold for 225. It's well, it's not really identical. Theirs is a 3.2. Some of you may think that a 2.1 and a 3.2 doesn't make that much of a difference, but it definitely does. The 3.2s are way more desirable. They will sell faster. Okay, like for example, I see a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 2 blocks southeast, and this one took 113 days. And then I see a 3.2 right across the street, and it took 49 days. So there's always a big difference when you're looking at that stuff. All right. So these are things you could tell the homeowner if they're not willing to budge on price and says this is for sale by owner. I mean, you just got to educate them since it's not listed. You know, if it's listed, you have to talk with the agent, negotiate with them, see why they listed at that price. All right. What questions do we have? Hey, for boots on the ground in a city, can I send a relative to take pictures? Yes. I don't see why not. Yeah, if you guys are doing this virtually, you need boots on the ground and you have a relative to take photos, that's fine. The only thing I would say is, you know, make sure, because sometimes I'll send people to properties. They don't have any, you know, you don't need photography experience, but if you have an iPhone, make sure it's not vertical. Make sure it's horizontal like this. So you can see, you know, a lot more of the property. Okay. And yeah, it could be done with an iPhone. All right. You don't need professional photos. What's up? What's up? All right. Question. How do you respond when an agent, what's your business name and business card if you're not fully established? How do you respond with an agent? I'm assuming when they ask you what's your business name and business card. You don't need a business name or card when you're starting out. I think when agents ask you that, you know, maybe they had a bad experience with other people that aren't established yet. You can just say, hey, I work with a small group of private investors. I work on the acquisition side. Hold on a second. I work on the acquisition side, and I just help them find off-market properties, right? So you can even tell them you're new. There's nothing wrong in telling them you're new, right? Now, if you do have a business name, right, like a lot of homeowners, especially when doing this virtually, they're going to want to know who you are, what you do. Because, for example, I live in Florida. I was speaking with a lady today in New York. She wanted her attorney to review the agreement. All right. They don't know who I am, right? They have to make sure I'm legitimate. Well, here's our website. One of the biggest references you can give them is the title company you're doing business with. All right. So I say, hey, here's our title company. Here's our escrow agent. We've closed the last 5 deals using this specific closing agent. So give them a call. You can verify with them who I am, what we do. Okay. If you're brand new, you have to lean on other people as partners, but never, ever just make something up. But, you know, if an agent's asking you that, they just want to make sure that they're not, you know, wasting their time because they probably had a bad experience with somebody else. All right. Why would you offer 50 to resell for 60 and it's listed for 74 already? Don't you think the buyer would go to the owner instead of paying you a fee for the property? Well, they don't know what you have it under contract for, right? Can they go directly to the owner? Yes, that's one of the cons of dealing with stuff that's on the market. But, you know, also with these lower price properties, you can only go down so much. For example, the property was worth $300,000 and it was listed for $275,000, but I have it under contract for $200,000. I'm selling it for $225,000. That's enough spread for the buyer to make an offer through me to make, you know, it has to make sense. And I have to make sure that the agent knows what we're doing in the whole process. But, you know, for example, that property is listed for 74, right? How much lower can you go? Even if you got it for 50 with a homeowner, you relist it for 60. Will the buyer go directly to the homeowner? Maybe, maybe not. That's really not much spread of a deal there. But, you know, ideally, I always aim to be $40,000 to $50,000 less than what it's listed for. Otherwise, there's no point of a buyer, you know, using us, right? So do what you can with what you have. But I always prefer off-market properties. That's just me, right? Ultimately, I love inbound marketing. I love I love inbound leads, right? People that say, hey, I want to sell, I need to sell, give me an offer. When you're doing outbound marketing, there's nothing wrong with that, but the cash conversion cycle is going to take a little bit longer, right? You're going to have to do a lot more follow-up. You're going to have to give a lot more offers. That's just how it goes. And there's more competition when it's on the market as well. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, let's go to somebody sent me a question in the private chat here. Let me move over here. Great questions, by the way. Let's see. What platforms? Hold on, I'm getting blown. Is this a seller? Maybe not. What platforms are you using to view pictures of the properties we are looking at? Sometimes on Reallead, I can't see pictures. How can I access images of properties when there are no pics on Reallead? So Reallead is a comping lead software. Not every property is going to have photos. If it's off market and it's not listed on as a for sale by owner, it's not going to have photos. The way I'm looking up these photos is because most of these leads that you guys are sending me are either for sale by owner on, for example, a website like Zillow, or if it's on the MLS, I can pull it up and I can see the photos. If it's an off-market property, right, it's not even listed on Zillow, it's not listed with an agent, I just pull up the street view. That's how I'm coming up with these, photos. So for example, this one that I looked at just now in Texas, let's say it wasn't on Zillow or anything. Like, I'm just going to show you guys this. Right, so that's how I always find photos, is a street view. But this one is not listed, but it is listed for sale by owner. So that's the only way that I'm finding these photos, just in case you're curious. So that's why there's photos of the inside and all that stuff. And sometimes there will be old photos of the property from a previous listing, whether it was for rent or for sale. Right, you might see a comp that said sold or something. It'll have photos, even though they're not actively looking to sell it. So, and when you do see photos that are older from a previous transaction, I'll always ask the homeowner, hey, how similar does your property look now to when you purchased it? Because I do see older photos. Does it look the same? Always verify that information with them. All right, let's go to the next lead. What do we got? We have one. Let's see. This is I call that one in San Antonio, Texas. All right, so this one is in Minnesota, complete rehab needed. Let's take a look at this one. Somebody did submit a lead. Somebody did submit a lead a few weeks ago. Perry, you submitted that triplex in Minnesota, and you ended up getting accepted offer on that. So let's take a look at this. Oh, this property. All right, so this one, is this listed? It is listed. All right. So it actually looks, it needs a lot of work. Okay, that's fine. So there's actually plenty of photos for this property. All right, so here's the property. All right. Check out this stately looking home in Lincoln Park, close to businesses and bus line. The home features very large rooms, including a huge formal dining room and kitchen, blah, 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 blah. It does need some finishing work and updating to bring it back to life. Don't pass on this opportunity. Now, this has been here for 10 days and has 68 saves and over 1,000 views. So there is interest on it. All right. Now, it is listed with an agent, so I'm just going to run some quick comps on it just to see where we're at. I'm not going to go super in depth. I just want to pull up the address. That way I have some data to look at if the agent answers the phone. All right, let me close this tab. Let's call the agent. Oh, before I call, did you put any information? Complete roof, doesn't leak, siding is steel but needs new paint, air conditioning and furniture was replaced 10 years ago. The agent didn't share this information. The reason for selling. Okay, that's probably because they're not the homeowner. I mean, sometimes agents won't want to disclose that depending on what it is. All right, it's ringing. I mean, it's not horrible shape. It's really ugly. Very outdated. Mr. Nelson. And you got the
Hi, you have reached
nice
John Nelson with Market Point Real Estate.
one of these properties I looked at a few months ago had carpet in the bathroom. You very rarely see carpet in the bathroom. I don't know if that was, that was before my time, but yeah, it was exactly, the carpet looked just like that, but it was in the bathroom. So I don't know what they were thinking. Let's call this person back one more time, see if they pick up the phone, and then let me just run some comps while it's here. This is about 1,700 square feet. There's actually a really good comp that sold for 120. This is the best comp. Sold for 120. Yep. Flipper bought it for 120. Sold it for $206,000. So what does that mean?
Hi, you have reached
That means
John
that I know
Nelson
my
with
offer
Market
has to be close to 200,000, right? Because the best comp I see, you don't have to go far when you're looking at these comps. Bedroom, bathroom, square footage, year built condition. I did see an investor buy one for 85. It was much smaller, but they actually sold it for 200,000. Okay, so keep in mind, if you see two comps, and let's say they were both flips, and let's say the ARV was similar, but the price points on the purchase price were different, you always want to lead by the anchor price on the lower one and the MAO on the higher one. Okay, so for this property, I think we have to be, closer to 100,000. Okay, they're asking 149. I think it's a bit high. But, we don't know if the homeowner is negotiable until we get a hold of the agent. Okay. All right. When buying a property on Zillow, when it says buyer pays all closing costs, does that mean the buyer will pay closing costs for both the buyer and seller? Yes. Can I send you an address even if I have not spoken to the owner? Yeah, you guys can send me an address if you haven't spoken with the owner. The chances of them wanting to get a signed contract on the first call aren't going to be very high. I would advise you send warm leads, people that you've spoken to or have expressed interest in selling in the past, and maybe you're just following up. But if you send me cold leads, I'm going to be cold calling. Thanks. If I need closer Olympics, will you participate this or next year? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't even know if they're gonna have a next one. It's been a while. I gotta get with those guys and see what's going on. I think it's been a while since they had one. All right, cool. So what is the next lead we have here? Let me close this tab. This next one is in Tennessee. I love Tennessee. All right, so this one is land. All right, so remember, land you're gonna look at differently than houses. Everybody does this a little bit differently, but the way that I run comps on land, number one, I want to see what is the lot size and the zoning. That's the first thing I want to look at. The second thing is there any new construction in the area? All right. If there is new construction in the area, great. Let me click on the transaction history and see what that builder bought that lot for. Is that lot comparable in regards to the size and the zoning? And then you're going to do the exact same thing. All right. Now, I think this is in a gated community. Let me take a look here. It's not really Turner Road. Let me go over here real quick. Okay. All right. Let me see. So not to say this couldn't be a deal, but like I always say, if you are looking at a property and it's been on here for a very long time, I mean, there's no pictures to really see. I mean, you got some trees and stuff. If a property has been, this says it's been on here for what, 65? Let me see. 65 days, 8 saves. That's not good. That means there's really nothing going on. Okay. Look at this beautiful piece of land here. It's close to a house, but Okay, and this is also at an angle too, so that could, I mean, that may make some challenges. So they're asking 625. Okay. There's not really much interest on it. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm just going to, I mean, you can run comps quick on land. I just want to see, number one, is there any land in the area? Right? Oh, let me get the full address here, and I'm going to pull it up to get the size and the zoning. I got a lot of tabs I'm working with here, so bear with me here in a second. All right, Turner Road in Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. So this lot, it does actually look like there's a house on it. Is this it? These may be old photos. I don't know. But the lot size, it's a big lot. It's 17 acres. Yeah, that's a large lot. I don't see anything in the description that talks. Let me see. Unlimited possibilities, 18 acres, striking property, can reimagine, blah, blah, blah. I don't see anything here. Does it have a house on it? I don't know. Let's give him a call. I don't want to dig too deep into it without giving him a call. It looks like this is listed with an agent, Miss Sickler. So let me give Miss Sickler a call, see if they pick up the phone. There's not much interest on it, and I actually don't see too much activity here. This is a very rural area. There's still some stuff.
Hi, this is Panina Sickler.
Population, any areas that the population is low, or it's a small city in the outskirts of a metro city. Not even. If it's more than an hour away from a metro city and there's like nothing going on, it's going to be much tougher to sell, even if you get this under contract. Right now, it's listed on the MLS, so they're getting a lot of exposure, and it's not getting really much activity. Let me call the agent one more time. One thing I want to see if it has a house. They didn't really put too much in the description. Reimagine. They say you could put homes or condos. The property has a potential to be a reason. Extremely rare. About a house on there.
Hello?
Hey, Ms. Sickler.
Yes?
My name's Steven. I saw your listing you had on Turner Road. Are you still accepting offers for this?
Yes, I am.
Great. Did I catch it a good time?
Yes, actually, I'm just going to put these few things away here, and then I can sit down and talk to you. Yes.
Okay,
Very good.
perfect.
And who am I speaking with?
My name's Steven.
Are you a realtor or just an individual interested person?
Individual interested person.
Perfect. Okay. What can I tell you about Turner Road?
Sure. So I was looking at the description. Does this property, I mean, does the land have a house or cabin on it? I see some old photos.
No, there is nothing on it right now.
Okay.
There used to be, and that was torn down, and it's all property. And the owner has gone in, as I had mentioned in the description, and deforested it beautifully. Now, are you in the area, or are you out of town?
I'm out of town, but I have partners near the property.
Okay, yeah, it's beautiful. If they, if you want to go up there, I'm gonna, love to meet you out there and, bring you up there and show you the whole piece.
Sure. Okay. Is there any septic or utilities attached to the lot?
So the land, okay, so Soddy Daisy in this area, this particular area right now has a moratorium on hooking up to the sewer system. It does have a sewer system. However, there is a moratorium on it right now. Now, you can put your name on the list, and, whenever they get whatever they have to do, because I've talked to them on it, and they're thinking in a year they may have the proper infrastructure to accommodate more on the sewer system, but
Mhm.
septic is permitted.
Got it.
Now you have to, do a septic permit here, and but you can do septic.
Okay.
And I mean, you could put your name on the list, or and get in for when the moratorium gets lifted and hook up to the system right there.
Okay. What's the current zoning on this?
Single family,
Single family. Okay.
but it can be rezoned. I mean, you can certainly apply for rezoning because there's a school down the street. The post office is across the street. There's businesses, restaurants. This is the main thoroughfare of Saudi Daisy. So it could most likely, I don't, the seller nor myself, he's very involved with the political system of the Saudi Daisy and in Hamilton County in general. And he doesn't feel there's any problem with it being rezoned.
Okay. Perfect.
And across the street, I don't know if they mentioned it, but across the street, there's multifamily going up also. They've started work on it, but that's going up across the way. So
Mhm.
there is progress over there.
Okay. How flexible do you think the owner is? I mean, are they firm on that price? Are they motivated to sell? What are your thoughts?
I think he's very reasonable. He's a very good business person, and he's open to hear everything. So open for negotiations, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. I'm just trying to look at some comps in the area to see realistic what would it be. I know that. Let me see. You know where Jacob Drive is?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah, he's got.
It's just this is sort of the property we marketed at that price, of course, knowing that people are going to want to negotiate, and absolutely, we live in America, and it's
56 acres.
it's the heart of Saudi Daisy. It's where that's where
he's asking 6.
everything happens. The grocery
Obviously,
stores
she's
are
trying
down
to tell
the
me,
street.
but
I mean,
everything's
it's the heart of everything.
I'm not
So
going to just.
it's in a really good location
Sure.
for whatever anybody would want to build there.
Okay.
And that's the price. But like I said, definitely negotiable.
All right. What's the best way? Should we email you an offer? What do you think? You taking verbal?
Well, you can email me.
Okay, perfect. What is
or do you just want to talk about it? I mean, do you just want to go back and forth, and then because if we get an offer on a piece of paper, then we just need to do it back and forth that way, or verbally? I mean, how serious are you? I mean, do you? I guess everybody looked at it, right?
We're very serious. I just didn't. I'd hate to waste your time or the owner's time, because I'm just trying to look at some comps. There's one on Jacob Drive. Let me pull this up. I just saw one. It was 1312 Jacob Drive. This one's 56 acres. It sold for 600,000. And I'm trying to look at.
Yeah, but it probably does water, and it's not cleared. He's got everything pretty manicured out there.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's probably a few things going in for the difference in price.
Sure. Let me do some quick math real quick. So it's a little bit under 18 acres, or is it at? Let me see.
It's a little over 18 acres according to the court records.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's about 18 something. I have to pull it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. I wrote it in the MLS. I've written it in there, but let's see. Yeah, it's 18 something.
What do you think would be the best? You knowing the area a lot better than I do. You think it's better to put single family homes here, condos? What are your thoughts on that?
I think either one, really. I mean, if to walk the property is absolutely beautiful. I mean, I think it would make some awesome home sites. I mean, they just would be the view, the breeze up there on the top. I mean, It's really lovely. I mean, either way, townhomes. Are you thinking like townhomes or something like that?
Yeah, is this leveled? Let me see. I see some.
No,
photos.
it's rolling.
Yeah. Okay.
You'd have to, you've got room. There's just lots of space areas to carve out places for building.
Okay. Would you happen to have a survey or the
18
owner?
quarters. I'm sorry, say that again.
Would the owner happen to have a survey?
Let me see if I have a survey. Hold on. Pretty sure I do. Let me look. I've got the plat map from the from the tax paperwork I can send you.
Sure. And then what is your best email?
LE, D as in David, S as in Sam, OE.net.
Got it. Okay, perfect. I can have my partner email you, and then maybe you can email her the survey. I'd like to take a look at that to see what this should be used for. But I don't, honestly, I don't know if we'll make an offer regardless. I just don't think it'll be anywhere near what it's listed at. I don't know if the homeowner is too flexible, but
well, I mean, what are you thinking? I mean,
yeah.
I'm just trying to
here.
see my doc. Hold on a second. I've got to see. Here's the survey. I have it.
Let me go.
Yeah, I can email you this. So, it will show you. Let me see. Saudi Daisy, the school, the Turner Rails. You'll see Turner Road, and Dayton Pike is the main road that is in the front of the property, and then the side road is Turner Road. But that is what the name is. That's what they made the address from a long time ago. But I mean, that didn't have to be your address, as you know.
Right. Okay.
And then, so he's got. I'm pretty sure this is it. Now this one says 17.36, but but this one doesn't
We have
have
to
the
be
added
around 400,000 for
property
because
in it that he's got. So there's a little on the side. You'll see a black mark. He's black market. So it's 18.2.
Well, like $25,000 an acre, more or less.
Written down on
Okay.
on a handwritten, on the warranty deed. I believe it's 18. Says 18.25 acres. So that's what it is.
Do you think if we were closer to 400,000, is that something we're sending over?
Is that really your best?
Or
do you want him?
I mean, I haven't seen the survey or anything. I'm just thinking out loud based on what I see. Just a ballpark, nothing set on stone, but that I'd probably be somewhere closer to that number. I don't know if that's worth his time, your time, or what are your thoughts?
It might be a good start. I mean, I don't want to say no, because like I said, I don't, he may want to, and he may say, come back with something.
Sure. Yeah, I understand. Okay. Well, I have your email here. I'm going to have my partner,
Okay,
let
me tell me your name again so I can write this down.
My name is Steven.
Okay. Art, like A-R-T? ARC, okay. ARC Equity Acquisitions. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We're based out of Florida, but we also buy a lot of properties in Tennessee as well.
Okay, what's your last name?
Morales, Morales.
Okay, and your partner, is he calling me, or are you sending me an email address?
I'll have them send you an email. His name's Steven as well, but it's Steven Preston. So I'll get with him on information.
Okay. Do you want him to? Do you want me to send the survey to him or call him or?
Yeah, I'm gonna have him email you, and then you can respond with that survey, and then maybe from there we'll start
Okay.
negotiations.
Okay, that sounds fine. And I need to dig out my file and everything, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this number you called me up at 813 number is a good number for you?
Yeah, this is my office line. That's fine.
Okay, just in case I need to contact you back. All right,
Sure.
very cool.
All right.
All right, well,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll be in touch.
All right.
And I'll be talking to you, and he'll be writing me. So that sounds good.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Well, man, I mean, I really dropped the price like $200,000, and she didn't. You know, some agents, they'll be like, "You're out of your mind. I'm not going to waste my time." She didn't say no. She's like, "Well, I think that's a good starting point." I mean, at 400,000, this would make sense. You know why? Because I'm looking at comps in the area, and for 1 acre, they're selling for about $25,000 an acre. Okay, buyers, right? Home builders or whatever. That means, and I'm trying to be conservative, right? Let's say we have 18 acres. That means a buyer may pay $450,000. Now, I don't want to say, yeah, we'd be at $450,000, right? I want to say we'd probably be closer to $400,000. Is that something that's even worth your time? She didn't say no. She actually sounded interested. Okay, so Steven, you submitted this deal, not me, the other Steven. You submitted this. Is that her? No, that's somebody else. You submitted this deal. So I'm going to email you her email. All right. So the next step is to get the survey. And, you know, I would send her an offer. I say, hey, after we looked at everything, you know, like make it formal. Some agents will take verbal offers. Some want it like written on a agreement. Some want an email. Like, we'll see. It seems like she's actually pretty flexible and reasonable. But what is really good, she didn't say no to the 400,000. She said that's a good starting point. Now they'll probably counter back. I don't know. Do they own this free and clear? They own this free and clear. Yeah, this is actually not a bad area. It's actually in a really based on the town. Like the town itself is small, but the lot location is actually really good. There's an elementary school there. You have a lot of restaurants and shops. Like it's in a very good area. But for $625,000, no, that's just overpriced. That's why there's no interest on it. Now, some people may see this listed for $625,000 and they're like, "Oh, that's overpriced and it's not worth my time calling them." Guys, when you see, whenever you see an overpriced property, don't let that scare you away. All right. You have to make offers. I don't care, you know, what the situation is. I mean, they're asking $625,000. I just said we have to be closer to $400,000 and they seem open to it. What if they accept $400,000? I think this could be assigned between $425,000 to $450,000 easy, in my opinion, based on the comps. But who would have known? You have this listed for $625,000. Make the offer. Make the offer. Okay. Awesome. Let me see, make sure I didn't miss any questions. Boots on the ground. Let me go to the private chats. Did the community over here send me any questions here? Let me check here. So I think hopefully what you took away from that was just because it's overpriced doesn't mean they're not negotiable, right? Make offers on everything. Awesome. All right, guys, go out there and make some offers. I got some big news coming soon. I'll share with that maybe on the next YouTube video, but I'll see you in the next deal desk. Make those offers. Have a great weekend, guys. Until next time, take care.